Hello and welcome. Take a moment to slow down, to listen carefully, and to enter a story where words are not decoration but survival. This is not just a documentary, and it is not just a music story. This is a journey into real life, real language, and real experience. Here, English is learned not through perfect sentences, but through truth, pain, silence, and resilience. Tonight, we explore the life of an artist shaped by violence, loss, and discipline. Not a loud superstar, not a manufactured icon, but a cold, calculated storyteller who speaks only when there is something real to say. This is the story of 21 Savage. The screen fades in from black and the first sound is not music but distance, the low pulse of a city breathing in the dark, a faint siren echoing far away, a slow bass note vibrating under the silence, and then the calm voice continues, controlled and steady, guiding the viewer deeper into a world where language becomes clearer through lived experience, where every word carries weight because it was earned, not imagined. And the visuals remain minimal and restrained, rain falling on empty streets, police lights reflecting off wet asphalt, slow-motion shots of urban corners that feel familiar to anyone who learned how to stay alive before learning how to dream, and the narration explains that this is not a celebration, this is documentation, this is observation, this is listening closely, because some voices do not shout to be heard, they survive, and 21 Savage is one of those voices. The city dissolves into another city, another country, another beginning, grey skies hanging low over London, council estates standing quiet and heavy, narrow streets soaked in cold light, and here the story rewinds to a boy named Shéyaa Bin Abraham-Joseph, born in the United Kingdom, surrounded by instability before he could understand the meaning of safety, a childhood shaped by movement, uncertainty, and environments that demanded awareness rather than comfort, and when the transition comes. When London slowly fades into Atlanta's east side, the contrast is sharp but the rules remain the same: survive, adapt, observe, do not trust easily, grow up fast, because the neighborhood does not wait for childhood to finish, and the voice describes a young boy learning early that violence is not shocking, it is normal, loss is not dramatic, it is expected, trust is not automatic, it is dangerous. And music at this stage is not a dream, not an escape, but background noise to survival. Something distant, something that comes later, because when safety is uncertain, imagination becomes secondary, and the visuals stay grounded, no glamour, no exaggeration, just cracked sidewalks, dim streetlights, blurred faces moving through memory, places where choices are limited and consequences are permanent. As the tone deepens, the documentary moves into the street reality that would define 21 Savage's voice, dark reenactments without spectacle, without cinematic hero angles, without glorification, only moments that feel heavy because they are quiet, friends disappearing without goodbye, names becoming memories, arrests becoming routine, danger becoming constant, tension never leaving the room. And then the moment that cannot be avoided, the shooting, shown without drama, without slow motion. Bullets or emotional manipulation, only the aftermath, the stillness, the realization that survival sometimes leaves scars that cannot be removed, and the narration is careful and precise here, explaining that this is not myth-making, not legend-building, but fact, cold and irreversible, a turning point that did not create arrogance but silence, not anger but restraint, and from this point forward, 21 Savage does not exaggerate pain, he reports it, because when trauma is real, it does not need decoration. The film shifts into quieter spaces, small studios, notebooks filled with handwriting, dim rooms lit by a single lamp, late nights where the city outside never fully sleeps, and this is where rap enters the story not as escape but as documentation, a way to record what has already happened, a way to organize chaos without pretending it was beautiful, and the voice explains that 21 Savage's style is intentional. The simple flows, the minimal words, the heavy pauses between lines reflect trauma itself, because trauma does not rush, it weighs, it pauses, it speaks carefully, and his music becomes a form of street journalism, reporting conditions, emotions, realities that are often misunderstood or ignored, and the visuals underline this with slow camera movement, subtle text overlays appearing briefly and fading, letting silence speak as loudly as sound. As recognition begins to grow, the camera moves through Atlanta's underground scene, small venues, word-of-mouth energy, no industry polish, just respect built quietly, and the narration emphasizes that before fame there was credibility, before charts there was trust, and when Savage Mode arrives in collaboration with Metro Boomin, the sound is dark, stripped down, cold, a perfect mirror of the life being described. And there is no bragging here, no fantasy of excess, only survival stories. delivered without apology, and the streets respond immediately, because authenticity does not need explanation, it is recognized instinctively by those who lived it, and the film shows this rise without fireworks, without celebration, because success here is not a victory lap, it is simply continuation. The stages grow larger, the lights brighter, the crowds louder, but the expression remains unchanged, reserved, distant, controlled, and the narration makes it clear that fame does not erase trauma, money does not rewrite memory, and success often only gives pain a larger platform, and the visuals reinforce this contrast, massive arenas dissolving into empty hotel rooms, applause fading into silence, flashing cameras replaced by stillness, reminding us that celebration is optional when survival has already been the primary goal. Then the rhythm breaks again, abruptly, headlines fill the screen, courtrooms, official language, legal terminology, silence stretching longer than expected, and the revelation arrives, the public discovery that 21 Savage is not a United States citizen, a moment that reframes identity, belonging, and vulnerability all at once, and the narration slows, explaining how a man known for fearlessness suddenly becomes powerless, defined by documents, by borders, by systems that do not recognize success or influence, and this moment humanizes him more deeply than any lyric ever could, exposing the truth that survival does not guarantee protection, and that identity can be questioned even after you have built a life. From here, the tone gradually shifts, not toward softness but toward awareness and responsibility, and the visuals subtly open up, still dark but less suffocating, still minimal but more reflective, and the story introduces financial literacy programs, community involvement, conscious decisions, explaining that growth does not mean changing who you are, but understanding what you carry and choosing what you pass forward. And 21 Savage evolves, not quieter, not weaker, but smarter, more intentional, his lyrics expanding beyond survival into accountability, because once survival is secured, responsibility follows. The documentary widens its lens, showing packed arenas again, collaborations across generations, younger artists influenced not by copying his words but by absorbing his discipline, his restraint, his honesty, and the narration breaks down his cultural impact, how minimalism became power, how silence became a statement, how authenticity replaced exaggeration, proving that volume is not equal to influence, and that truth does not require decoration to be effective, and through this, 21 Savage reshapes expectations of what a street rapper can represent, not a stereotype, but a witness. As the film approaches its final moments, the city returns once more, Atlanta at night, slow-motion shots of empty streets, glowing streetlights, a lone figure standing still, and the voice frames 21 Savage not as a symbol of violence, but as a symbol of restraint, survival, and precision, someone who does not romanticize the streets but warns you about them, who shows the cost without selling the fantasy. And that honesty becomes his true legacy. The music softens into a minimal piano layered over subtle trap drums, and the final text appears slowly on screen. The streets don't teach you how to win, they teach you how to survive, and the narration closes with the idea that 21 Savage did not build a career on illusion or escape, but on truth, scars, discipline, and awareness, turning experience into structure and silence into strength, creating a voice that does not shout, does not beg for attention, but endures, teaching not only language, but listening, not only survival, but understanding, as the screen fades to black and the city breathes on.